What's up, guys? Weather Wednesday coming at you with another Raid Shadow Legends video. And we've got a very busy day tomorrow. Not a lot going on today as we come to the conclusion of day 2 of CVC. But tomorrow, we got a lot of things going on. Starting with a guaranteed legendary out of Ancient Shards. And that legendary is Shemnath, who I happen to have summoned a year or two ago. This champion came out a couple years ago, so I got her when she was relatively new, not brand new, but relatively new. So I probably had her for a year and a half, something like that. And I got to tell you, for some reason, they really want people using Ancient Shards right now, because we just had a 1+1 legendary event out of Ancient Shards. And then we had a 2x event out of Ancient Shards. And now we got a guaranteed legendary out of Ancient Shards. And the question is, do you have any Ancient Shards left for this guaranteed champion? Now, perhaps that was the whole entire idea, is to get you to use all those Ancient Shards so that you would have to buy more Ancient Shards. But was this really the champion that they're trying to bait us with? Let's break it down. Now, this is an attack champion, basically a nuker out of the Knights Revenant faction. And when I say out of the Knights Revenant faction, I mean that's pretty much where you're going to use Shemnath. She's not really strong enough for the arena. She's not really strong enough for Hydra. She doesn't hit all that hard, and that's why you'll see that I personally put her in triple perception, because I don't really use her to hit hard. Now, she is useful in faction wars, and she can come in handy in the Cursed City, but that's about it. Let's look at her skills. Now, I personally have her in Soul Reap just as, like, maybe she'll get me through a wave a little bit faster if she happens to hit somebody. That's about the only reason why I have her in Soul Reap, is maybe she'll kill somebody a little bit faster. Now, she does have this passive that isn't all that useful. Increases this champion's accuracy by 10 for each buff on each enemy. Okay. Really, you need to just be building her with enough accuracy anyway, and not trying to RNG your way with getting a little bit of extra accuracy. And then it also increases this champion's crit damage by 5% for each debuff on each enemy. Again, if you're building her for damage, is this extra 5% going to be all that helpful? Yeah, it stacks up to 100%, but how many debuffs do you really want on the enemy in the first place? And the answer is, you don't want any debuffs on the enemy, and that's why I use her the way that I do. We'll get into that in a minute. And her A3 attacks all enemies 2 times. The first hit removes all buffs. So that's what I use her for, is I built her with enough accuracy to remove the buffs of the enemies in faction wars. And you know, in faction wars, sometimes you run into pesky champions. Champions that have unkillable, or they have block damage, something like that. She removes those so you can get through those annoying waves where you have to wait and wait and wait for, like, a man-eater or somebody to remove their unkillable. She removes it. That's what you're going to use her for. That's one reason right now why you wouldn't use her in arena. Also, is because she's just going to get polymorphed. But the other reason is she just doesn't hit that hard. Now, if you put her in pure damage gear, she'll do a little bit more damage. But that's not what I personally use her for. I use her more as somebody who removes buffs and then does a little bit extra damage. But I'm bringing in a real damage dealer along with her, because she just doesn't do enough damage even if you put her in damage gear. Now, if you happen to have some spare Savage gear lying around that has a lot of accuracy, Sure, you could put it on Shemnath and get the job done as long as you can get enough accuracy and you get some extra power as well. But it is difficult to build her for both damage and accuracy. You'd have to have the perfect gear because you're going to have to choose, do I want an attack banner or do I want an accuracy banner? Do I want an attack chest piece or do I want accuracy? Now you'll see I just put on an attack 50%, like a 5-star attack percent chest piece that happens to have accuracy with crit rate, crit damage, and speed. I wouldn't do this if I was using her for anything special. I don't consider Faction Wars special. And most Curse City stages, they're either really easy for you or really hard for you. And if they're really easy for you, she'll get the job done. If they're really hard for you, she's probably not going to make the difference. Now, her A2 transfers all debuffs from this champion to a target enemy. That's fine, but you can't really rely on that helping you out. Perhaps there is some wave out there where very specifically she might make things a little bit easier from that, but I wouldn't count on it. And then, of course, she's got a very basic A1, attacks one enemy 2 times, and you have a chance for a decreased defense. Like, she is a fine champion, but are you going to spend 150 ancient shards to get her? I don't think you are, unless you're a Kraken trying to fill out your Pokédex, which very few of you are, or you just have ancient shards burning in your pocket and you're figuring, hey, I might as well get a free legendary as I summon my way through my 150 ancient shards. I just don't think it's worth it. And not just because you probably don't have ancient shards. Let's face it, most people spent theirs. Now, I held on to mine because I was nowhere near Mercy, so I knew it wasn't going to work out for me on the 1+1. And I still didn't really have enough where I thought it would work out for me on the 2 times. And so I did think maybe I'll save up for a guaranteed champion, but if it's Shemnath, obviously I don't need her, and I don't think anyone really needs her unless they're struggling specifically with Knight's Revenant. But there's another reason, and that's because if you do happen to have shards, you might need them for other things over the next 2 weekends. Specifically, if we go to our news, it's the Shayek Fragment event. Now, if you've been playing long enough, you realize that basically just about every fusion, fragment, or traditional fusion event is going to have a champion chase tournament and a summon rush event, which means over the next 2 weekends, you're probably going to be summoning shards. Now, if you're like me, you save up your sacred shards for these things because they're the fastest way to get points, because you get a lot of points just for summoning sacreds if it is a summon rush, and you get a lot of points for epics and legendaries if it is a champion chase. So I personally have 10 sacred shards saved up for the weekend, and I know, not everybody is going after this fusion because, quite frankly, Shayek, kind of a weird champion. Now, right now, he has, if you look at it, it looks like 6 champions that will work with him regarding him basically getting an ally attack with different beasts. I mean, quite frankly, why wouldn't you just get a better ally attacker? Like, is it that great to work this out with one of these beasts? No, not currently. I have seen some videos on the test server where people tried him out with Fellhound and it was kind of, sort of, almost okay. But my suspicion is, based on their wording of certain things that they have released is that there's probably going to be another very good champion that is going to be some sort of dog. And that will work very well with Shayak. So I am personally going to go for the fusion, basically because I can, and I highly recommend going after just about every fusion as long as you have the resources. If you've played long enough, if you're deep enough into the game, you can save up your resources without spending any money. I haven't spent any money in this game in a very long time, and I've never spent a lot. So I suggest that if you can, save your shards for the fusion. Now, you might be thinking, well, I can either get this guaranteed legendary in Shemnath very easily just pulling the shards, and that's a guaranteed legendary, and that's much easier than going after the fusion. Yeah, maybe, but Shemnath, we know, is not really a huge game changer. Now, the fusion might be. Currently, it's not. But if there is a dog of some sort coming into the game that is a game changer, well, I guess it's a gamble, and this is a gacha game, so you have to decide what gamble you are going to take. So that's it. That's my opinion on Shemnath. I have her. I don't think she's special. She's a little bit useful in Faction Wars and Curse City. Not really anything to get too excited about, other than she does look kind of cool, and tomorrow is the 4th of July. So if you want to do it for America, you can do it for America, because she is basically the Statue of Liberty. And we salute her for her service. But what else is going on in the game? Well, like I said, we do have the end of CVC. Why they decided to do back-to-back personal rewards, I do not know. But my clan is getting whooped. Nothing that we can do about it. We just don't have the resources to blow to catch up with them. So we just kind of decided to sit back. So my advice to my clanmates and my advice to you is, when you're in this situation, what you want to do is look at the personal reward tiers and see down here it says, like, tier 5, last time the lowest was 245,000. So if I want to stay in tier 5 or stay within tier 5, because I'm not going to get enough for tier 6, it's not worth it to me. What I need to do is I need to surpass this 245k by a little bit. And if I wanted to stay in tier 6, I would need to surpass 360k by a little bit just to be safe. Personally, I'm going to look for a little over 250k. I'll be in tier 5 next time, and that is fine with me. I just don't feel like blowing the resources on what is sure to be a loss this time. So that is my opinion on that. What else is going on in the game? First, we'll take a look at the events. And the only event going on right now today is the Fusion warm-up event. So, like I said yesterday, just level up your gear to stage 12 or level 12, and you can get your rewards for the day. And you can get that one ancient shard out of the 150 that you need for Shemnath. And that's about it for the events. So let's take a look at the tournaments. And as we look at the tournaments available, there is still a day and a half left for the Dragon Tournament. Now, this is a tournament where you can use epics only. I did make a video yesterday featuring an all epic team with options for replacement if you don't have all the champions that I do. And there's also a Sand Devil Turn Attack tournament starting today. If you don't feel like doing the fusion, but you do have a good Sand Devil team, perhaps you want to do that. You can get some soul stones out of it, and that's about it. So a very typical list of tournaments going on right now, but otherwise is fairly quiet today as we finish up CVC and get ready for the fusion that in all likelihood, is going to be starting on Thursday on the 4th of July. So let's see what kind of fireworks tomorrow has for us. Let me know in the comments if you feel like summoning Shemnath still, despite what I said. Perhaps you have a very good idea of what to do with her. Or if you're going for you think that this dog champion is going to be or not. Let me know in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you to all of my new subscribers. My subscriber count is slowly going upward, and I would appreciate it if you made it go even higher as we try to get to 1,000 subs. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Weather Wednesday. See ya.